Hey babes. In this video, I am giving some guidance from the universe on giving up. That is the topic for this week, the very first topic, because it is near and dear to my heart as something that I have recently experienced. I was cultivating a really big thing that I've been doing for a few years now, and while I love the Divine Chaos course, I'll just name it, while I love it, I also have learned that I've learned that I needed to approach things in a different way, and I also needed to recognize the parts that I liked about it and let go of the rest. And I don't think that I got there until I was like nearing the end and realizing like I don't feel good about this right now. I think that's how it is with some relationships too. I can think of a person that I was dating recently, in addition to two other partners. So I was dating three people at once, and one of them had something unique. They have some kink and BDSM experiences, and they're also non-binary, and I really wanted to get closer to that person and to get some things that I wanted out of it. Just the same as, you know, getting involved in this project, the Divine Chaos course, that had things that I wanted to get out of it. I wanted to get something out of this relationship, and I started to see, hear my voice go a little crazy, I wanted to see some of those things without really fully acknowledging that there are some other things that I do not like here, that I don't want anymore in my life, and that I won't accept for myself. So this week's topic is on giving up as a form of self-care, because I think we put too much pressure on ourselves to follow through on things. We believe that when we start, we have to complete them. We have developed this nonsensical argument toward quitting, which is that quitting is for losers, and that if you quit or you leave something that you agreed to, that you're a flake, or you're not really a reliable person. There are all of these negative stigmas around giving up something that isn't giving you what you signed up for. Or maybe is giving you what you signed up for, but once you're in there, you realize, oh, I didn't actually want everything that I signed up for in this particular instance. So when you find out that there is not a resonance anymore, that there's not alignment anymore, and you get to a point where you're like, I think this is a no for me. I think this is it turned into a maybe, and now it's becoming a no for me. This is the guidance on what we need to feel complete within ourselves without having the need to complete something that we feel like quitting, that we feel like leaving. And of course, the first card that is the guidance from the universe about this thing is the Speak Truth card. Now, if you are watching this on Patreon, then be sure to go and respond to Tuesday's poll so that we can get a good sense for where we're at with quitting and with giving up, so that as you're listening to this, you already have a sense for where you're at. I think watching these videos is helpful in so much as you develop self-awareness, but I think kind of like triggering that initial bit of self-awareness yourself and asking yourself questions before receiving guidance is very helpful. So go and make sure that you do that. If you're watching this on YouTube, you're a week late to the party, and this video right here has already been up in the Vibrant Coven on Patreon for a week. So if you would like to be a part of these weekly discussions, weekly topics that get introduced at the beginning of every week, and be able to tune in to the ones that feel really sparky for you, feel really squishy for you, feel really insightful for you, then it's $5 a month, and I invite you to join at any time. The Coven is always open. So now that we've gotten that part through, let's get into this. The Speak Truth card. This is the guidance from the universe on quitting and giving up. If you are being this is something that I've pulled from like all of the matriarchs in my family, which is why divine chaos is such a thing for me, because it is another way of saying divine feminine. And if we're all coming back to the divine feminine, and the divine feminine energy is starting to rise so that the toxic masculine can sit the fuck down, then we have to cultivate what our matriarchs know, what the feminine energy innately knows, which is why the Share Wisdom card came up, and I'll get to that in a second. What they know is that we must be true to ourselves, and when we are being honest with ourselves, then that's when we can be fully kind to ourselves. So truth, honesty, and kindness, truth, honesty, and kindness are the foundations for being the most authentic you that you can be. And if you are not speaking the truth, if you are not directing your energy with transparency, and if you are holding your truth to yourself and you are waiting for other things to fail or waiting for other people, and this is a form of self-sabotage. We sometimes wait for other people to fail on us so that we can say, okay, yeah, the thing that I was feeling iffy about is a hell no now. Or we wait for other people to give up before we do. It's like we're playing a game of chicken. We're playing a game of honesty chicken, or of confrontation chicken, of I don't want to have to confront the absolute fact that I don't feel good about this and that I haven't felt good about this for a while. So I'm going to wait for somebody else to feel worse about it than I do, or bad enough that they say something, or that they, come out with whatever they're feeling. When you are being direct, when you are confronting what your truth is, what feels true to you, and you are being honest with yourself, which is two different things, truth and honesty. Truth is just this like anchor that holds you to your values that never ever change. Like respect is one for me that has never ever changed. Never. Respect is that one anchor that never changes for me, that I need it in everything. That is my truth. That is what is true to me. But I can also be dishonest with myself about what respect looks like in my life. Honesty is a way that you communicate about your truth with yourself and with others through a lens that is kind of sometimes muddled by your experiences. So if you are being honest with yourself at a time when your experiences have mostly been negative, then the honesty that you are sharing with yourself and with others might be focused on some of those bad feeling things, or on your own faults, or on where you are to blame. When your honesty, when your lens, when your perspective, the way that you see the world has been cleared up a little bit through positive experiences, and you're starting to see that I am not to blame for absolutely everything. I shouldn't feel guilty about saying no to something that I don't like. Or, when you have cleared up your lens, then the way that you are honest with yourself feels more true to you and feels more true to what feels good for you. And that's when you can kind of sweep the board with kindness and say, the only way that I can be kind to myself is by giving myself what feels good. And if that means that I need to get rid of some things, or that I need to, 11, that I need to give something up, or I need to quit something or say no now after I have already given a yes, then that is when you are following through on that true, honest, kind showing up for yourself. And that is how you become the sovereign in your life. That is when you start to develop respect for yourself, when you see that you are not only struggling with what you've given your yes to that now feels like a no, or that you gave a no to that now feels like a yes, and I want to quit some other things so that I can focus more on this thing that is now feeling like a yes when it was a hell no before. That's how I felt about BDSM. I was like, that is a no for me. I will definitely not be doing that. Pain is not an experience that I want to combine with pleasure. It just doesn't feel right to me. And it was a no for a while, until I started to clear my lens and see that I have been caused pain, and I'm holding an unpleasurable pain experience. And I will always experience pain for the rest of my life. I will always continue to experience pain. But I get to control the narrative if I step into a BDSM relationship and I say, there is a pain that I am consenting to, and I am changing the story. I'm changing the narrative to a pleasure story, to a pleasure experience, so that my body is registering, I chose this pain and it's giving me something that causes me pleasure. Even if it is the release of a good cry, even if it is building trust with somebody, even if it is it's so hard to put to words, even if it is feeling your ancestors. I felt my aunt and my grandma come to me after my second session as a submissive, and basically felt that you're doing great work by letting yourself really get into this experience where you are flushing the unpleasurable of the pain, and you are receiving, you are giving something away, you are getting rid of something so that you can bring into your body this pleasure experience. And through that, I found out, after they had both passed, after they had both passed away, that they were both sexually assaulted in domestic relationships, in consenting relationships. There were non-consensual experiences, and those are the kinds of things that you can get out of saying no Yes. 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 Quitting this belief that I had, giving up this belief that I had, and not sticking to it out of pride and out of saying, like, no, that's how I've always felt, and saying I'm willing to change and I'm willing to admit that I was different then, and that doesn't mean that I was wrong for saying no then, and that I'm wrong for saying yes now. I think that's the other big ticket item is when we say no before and then we go to say yes now, we get a lot of shit for, well, you didn't like that. You thought you said you didn't like that. Well, I didn't, and I'm allowed to change. People will fight you, and you will fight yourself so many times on being in charge of the change that happens in your life. And the sovereign is always in charge. The sovereign gets to make the decisions. So when you are recognizing that there are things that you want to quit, or that there are things that you were not accepting of or into before, that was like a yuck for you before, that is become a yum for you. You know, your taste buds have changed. Your energetic taste buds have changed. That is a time when you get to put on your autonomy, your authority, the authority that you have for making decisions in your life, and saying, if I'm being true, honest, and kind to myself, what I'm finding is I get to have whatever the fuck I want, and I must be the one to leave or cancel whatever the fuck I don't want anymore. And this is a big boundaries lesson. This is the badger on here for the share wisdom card. And this is the last bit of guidance that we're receiving from the universe here on this. I would love for all of my Patreon Vibrant Coven babes to be sure that you're following up on Fridays and letting me know what came up for you, not only in this video, but in the resources that I share every Thursday. They could be coloring pages, card reading spreads, journaling prompts. I'm not sure what the resource is going to be yet for this one, but I do know that it's going to be coming out on Thursday. And then Friday, we follow up. We talk about what we've learned from this topic, and we maybe even choose to set some intentions for how we would like to grow, how we would like to heal, what we need more laughter and playfulness in, so that the growing and healing can feel easeful and natural and invited and encouraged, instead of like change being the vampire that reveals itself. All of those things, like the growing and the healing, can feel better if we set intentions that are playful, and that's what I really am cultivating the Vibrant Coven for. So be sure that you are following up on Fridays, that you're using the resources that I post on Thursdays. And again, if you're watching this on YouTube, you're late to the party, please join us in the Coven. We're open to anyone who wants to be cultivating a culture of compassion within your own life, within the community that you're already a part of, or within the Vibrant Coven as a little community that is separate from like the social media bullshit. I would love for you to come and share your wisdom on what rage quitting and and giving up has been like for you, and what you've learned from those experiences. But I also want to share that the wisdom that comes with knowing that you need to give up is a boundaries game. It is a boundaries play that you make, that you need to keep in your playbook for life. Because if you feel like you need to give your energy to something because you already said yes, then how much energy are you leaking to things that you've already said yes to? It's like keeping a whole wardrobe of clothes that you haven't worn in a really long time, but you feel bad letting go of them, and you feel bad saying no to them or quitting on them because at one point you said yes to them. That's an energy leak right there. Every time you look at those things in your closet, every time you look at the things in your space, every time you look into your relationships, every time you look into the projects or, you know, the work tasks that you have set up for yourself or that you've agreed to, every time you look at those things and you are reminded of how you want to quit and how you want to be done with them and yet can't because you already said yes to the thing, that is an energy leakage. That when you have boundaries and you say, I used to like it but now I don't, I used to like it but now I don't, I thought I wanted this but now I don't, you get to cultivate such compassion for yourself. And like the badger, you kind of really dig out your own little hole of what feels good for you instead of being out in the open and, always being assaulted by the things that other people expect of you or that you've come to expect of yourself because you haven't learned how to quit. You haven't learned how to say, I'm not giving a yes to this anymore. I'm allowed to not give a yes to this anymore because it leaks my energy. It drains me instead of energizing me. The wisdom that comes from setting those boundaries is not just a divine feminine or a matriarchal wisdom that helps us to understand we only have limited resources and we must use them wisely. But it is also a divinely harmonious decision. If you have limited resources and you decide to limit the spaces in which you give those resources, then once you are in there, you feel free. You feel like, oh my gosh, now that I don't have so many things to give my energy to, now I can give more of my energy to these particular things. How amazing is it? How harmonious do we feel when we start to recognize there are certain members of the band that are playing off key, and I've been playing off key for a while and it doesn't sound good to me, but I hired them, so I guess I just have to keep working with them until they work for me. No! You let it go. You say, this is your time to quit. I'm firing you. I'm firing you. I'm letting you go from the team because this doesn't create harmony for me. That is a powerful thing that the universe wants you to want for yourself, and that I would love to hear more about from you. I'm actually feeling like this first card is the right card. So I felt attracted to the Super Attractor deck that I have, which is really just affirmations, it is affirmations. I'm not going to belittle it or minimize it because affirmations are fucking awesome and life-changing, and this one so applies. And I just felt like I wanted to share one of these at the end here, so here it is. Each time I choose to tune in to spirit, guidance of the highest truth shows up for me. So if you tune into spirit and there is a truth that comes up that feels maybe even annoying because you're like, if this is true for me, and I'm being honest with myself, then the kindest thing I could do is get rid of it. That means it might not feel good for somebody else to hear that I'm saying no. It might not feel good to sit and go through my entire closet at first to get rid of all the things that I am giving up on. But afterward, you will feel that the highest truth is the kindest path for you. And the initiation of change, the initiation of the giving up might be difficult. The start might be the hardest part. But once you're there, it feels really, and I'm speaking from experience here, it feels really good to know that your no counted toward a much bigger yes. Counted toward giving you more space for, and also letting you off the hook from a whole bunch of other no's that might have followed, that you might have actually said yes to. Because you kept saying yes to this one no. It might have led to a bunch of other yeses that were actually no's, disguised as, okay, I guess I've already said yes to this one thing. Once you're there in the no, once you're there with your no and you are treating it as sacred, and you are not just giving up and quitting, but you are giving a part of yourself that was trying to bend for something else or for someone else up to the universe and saying, I don't want to be that anymore. I don't want to be that person anymore. I let you go. How good does it feel to live with what's left, which is what you're actually choosing to give a yes to? Feels pretty good. Let me know in the comments on this post how you are feeling about this topic this week, how you are sitting with whatever needs quitting, whatever you feel like I've been wanting to give up on and I just haven't allowed myself, I haven't given myself the permission. Whatever that thing is, let us know in the comments. Let's talk about it. This is a topic for discussion so that we get to talking about it, so that we get to speaking our truth and being honest with ourselves out loud and not just in our heads where it keeps spinning and spinning. Once you speak it, you get to pull it like a thread and start to see how it's affecting the fabric of your life that you are currently weaving. So let's talk about it. Let me know in the comments how you're feeling about this topic, how you're feeling about the guidance that the universe gave on the giving up, on the quitting. And I would love to see you flourish with the following up, the following through on whatever it is you're feeling it's time to grow in. It's time to heal from. Be sure, if you are watching this on YouTube, to check out the Vibrant Coven on Patreon. Go to patreon.com/vibrantcoven and take the poll. Watch the full video. Get these resources that come out every single week and more. I've got a whole bunch of stuff that's backdated for the past couple of years that I've been playing around in the Vibrant Coven and seeing what works. My mouth was trying to move too fast for my brain was moving too fast for my mouth. And coming to all these resources that are here for your growth, for your healing, for the laughter and play, the kinds of medicine that may start out as bitter because we have bitter associations with laughter and play, having not experienced them in loving ways all the time, but ending up in a sweet place where the fun rolls in and the lightness relieves us from the tension of all the things that we've been holding against ourselves, all the ways that we've been holding ourselves back. I want that to be unleashed for you. I want there to be an upheaval in the Vibrant Coven for you. And if that is something that you're into, then come and check it out. For $5 a month, you can come laugh, play, grow, and heal with us. For those of you on Patreon, already in the Vibrant Coven, I love you so much. You are deserving of all the love you desire. And I hope you have a beautiful, wonderful rest of your day. Again, be sure to tune in on Thursday for your resource and on Friday again for the follow-up. Mwah.